Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to get the perfect winged liner even if you're on a budget or a beginner. Winged liner is seriously like one of the most intimidating parts of makeup, and I feel like that's something we all struggle with, is getting the perfect wing and getting them both even. So today I'm going to do a demo for you. This is what the winged liner looks like. It's kind of covered by my massive lashes, but I show you how to wing out your liner very easily. But before we get into that, I kind of want to talk about some liner options, because honestly, the liner you use makes a world of a difference. If you use a liner that's not very pigmented and patchy, it's just going to make your experience that much worse. So I'm going to talk to you about some good ones, and most of these are very affordable. So first I'm going to get the high-end one out of the way. This is the Tarteist Clay Paint Liner. This is the shade Black. This is just a mini one. I get the mini ones because honestly I don't even really use it anymore. I used to be obsessed with this, but then I started trying other brands and realized that I could get basically the same thing for a lot cheaper. Also, I have really watery eyes, so I found that when I wore this on my inner corners, this would smudge a lot if I wore it for a long time. So if you have watery eyes, I definitely wouldn't recommend picking this up, but it is really matte, really black, very easy to use. The brush that comes with it is really good. So maybe if you don't have watery eyes and are willing to spend a lot on liner, this would be a good option for you. The full size of this is $29, so it is pretty pricey. So I have some good, more affordable options. One of them is drugstore, the other two aren't, but they're still affordable. So if you like liquid liner, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'm currently into gel, but I'm sure I'll go back to liquid eventually. The one that I really like is the Wet n Wild Mega Liner. This is just the shade Black. So the good thing about using a liquid liner is that you don't have to purchase a brush. It just comes with the product, and this is like $5. I want to say $5 Canadian. I know it's even cheaper in the States. I find that it's very black, it's matte, and it does an awesome job. Okay, you can't even see that. Maybe I'll do a thicker swatch. I mean, they're all just black, so I guess it doesn't really matter, but... So as you can see, it's very pigmented. It's really easy to work with, and if you do like liquid, I know that liquid is a little bit more difficult to work with, but if you are comfortable with liquid liner, I would definitely recommend checking this one out if you haven't already. Now onto some gel liners. The first one are recently launched, and they are by Morphe. I am not sponsored by Morphe. I don't have a code. I don't benefit in any way from saying this, but I really enjoy their gel liners. They stay put all day. They're super easy to use. This is the black one in the color Jet. They're really matte. They're just really nice. I really enjoy them. Comes in a variety of colors as well. The ones that I use the most are obviously the black and the brown. Sometimes I'm in a brown mood, and this is the shade Coffee, and it's just a really nice dark brown. It almost looks black, but not quite, so it's not quite as harsh for every day. I believe these retail for $11. If they don't, and if I'm wrong, I will put it in the down bar or something. But yeah, I've really been liking these. These are great. They last all day. There's not much bad I can say about them. And finally, if you have seen my Instagram looks, you know this one's coming. It is the Stilazzi gel liner, and these are even more affordable than the Morphe gel liners. They are more expensive, but you do get more product. So they are a better bang for your buck, and they have some gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous colors. This one is just the shade Jet. This is the one that I used today. As you can see, I use it a lot. Can you see that? I feel like you can. It just kind of looks like a dark hole, but I do use it quite a bit. This is probably my most used eyeliner of the moment. These are $11 US. Actually, you know what? I think the Morphe ones are $9 now that I think about it, because I remember that the Stilazzi ones are just a little bit more expensive, but you get quite a bit more product. So I think I was wrong before. I think the Morphe ones are $9. Again, if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself in the description bar. The Stilazzi ones also come in a variety of colors. I just showed you the black one. This is the purple one. It's called Amethyst. It's very beautiful. They're all very wearable, but still fun shades. So I definitely recommend checking them out. They're awesome. I'm not sponsored by them. They did send me this for free. And the two brushes that I really enjoy using for gel liner, the first one I've recently discovered is the Angle Mini S203. This is the one I use in my video. Ooh, it's just a super tiny angled brush. brush. I like angled brushes better. You can use the very tip just to make the end of your wing super duper sharp. And the second one isn't really even a liner brush, but I use it as a liner brush. And I saw that Makeup by Anne on Instagram. If you haven't checked her out, which I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, go check her out because she's awesome. She actually uses this too. This is the Sigma Angled Brow E75, and I like this so much better than any angled liner brush that I've tried, just because it is so thin. Sometimes I find that liner brushes that are angled are really thick and it's hard to get a very precise line. This one is just so thin, it makes applying liner a breeze. It's super easy to use. So I would definitely recommend checking this one out. I actually have two of them. This is the one I use for my actual brows when I use a dip brow. I kind of lost my other one that I used for liner, but I'll have to repurchase another one because this is the best. So now that I've talked about some eyeliner options, let's get into the demo. Okay, so as you can see, my eyebrows and my eyeshadow are done, but the rest of my face is not. I think that that is an important order to do things if you're a beginner with winged eyeliner. The way we're going to determine the angle of your liner involves the eyebrows. So you want your eyebrows to be done before you do your wing. But you also don't want your face to be done. This is because we will be able to clean up any mistakes with concealer. And if your makeup is already done, I find that it doesn't look as nice. It doesn't look as seamless. The concealer doesn't blend as nicely if you've already, you know, set everything with powder. So even though I have been doing winged liner for a long time, a really long time, I still do it in this order just to make things easier on myself, because we all have those days where we are just awful at winged liner. Even though I've been doing it for a really long time, I still have days where I just can't do it to save my life. So doing things in this order really helps me on those days. So today what I'm going to be using is the Stellazzi Borderline Intense Gel Eyeliner. This is the one I've been really into. This was sent to me. This is not sponsored. I just really have been into this one because it's new to me. And I'm also going to be using the Angle Mini S203 from Stellazzi. It's just a really tiny angled brush that I've been enjoying lately. I would recommend using a gel liner for beginners because it's a lot more thick, obviously, than a liquid liner, and that will allow you to work a little more slowly. I find with liquid liner it can get messy real quick just because it's so liquidy and it's so easy to use too much. Okay, so step number one. Open your gel liner. Super easy first step. Then I just like to, you know, dip my brush into the gel liner, and I like to like scrape the sides against the edge of the pot just so that the sides aren't completely coated and it's more the tip, just to be more precise. Oh, I'm not in focus. Okay. So now that our brush is nice and loaded with gel liner, what I like to do first is just stick really close to the lash line and work in really short strokes just to get a good base down. I just like to do a really thin line just to kind of map out the shape that I want. So now that that step is done, it's not a very even line. So what I'm gonna do is make it a little bit thicker on the outer corner, because that's typically what flatters most eye shapes, is when you go thinner in the inner corner and thicker in the outer corner to create more of a cat-like shape, even when you're not doing a wing. So I'm just making it thicker towards the outer corner. And I find that it's easier if you work in short strokes as opposed to doing it all in one long one, because I don't know about you, but I don't have a very steady hand. So I work a lot better doing really short, quick strokes as opposed to doing one slow, long one, because that would be a messy line, let me tell you. The general rule that I like to follow is to draw a line that extends from your waterline up to your eyebrow. That's why it's important to have your eyebrows done ahead of time so you can kind of gauge where you want this angle to go. And to do this part, I use a really light hand just in case I don't like the angle, because that does happen even though I try to follow the rule. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, you know? Sometimes it doesn't, let's be real. So I use a really light hand so it is a little bit easier to clean up if I do make a mistake or I don't like the angle that I've created. So I just kind of press my brush on my outer corner and I start to sweep up towards my brow. And you can see that I used a very light hand, and if I did need to clean it up with a Q-tip, I could. I don't think I'll need to. And to determine how long you should make your wing, I think that a lot of it is up to you. It's just personal preference. What I typically do is go right above my crease. So as you can see, the crease of my eye kind of goes downwards towards the outer corner. So my crease ends about here, and I just took it a little farther up. That's typically what I like to do. So that would depend on how much lid space you have. And it also depends on what kind of look you're going for. You know, if you want something super bold, make the line longer. If you want just a tiny little flick, then go a lot shorter. So then what I like to do is connect this line that we've drawn back to the lining of the lash line. That was really hard for me to get out. I don't know why. So to do that, what I typically do is start right below where my line ends. I don't want to go right to the end and bring it all the way in. If I do that, then the tip won't be as sharp. And when I personally do a wing, I like the tip to be as sharp as possible. So that's why I start a little farther down than where the line ends. And then just bring it back. Again, I did a really light line. Honestly, you can't even see it, just in case I make a mistake. And then I go over it just to make it a bit darker. And then I like to fill in the outline that I've created. Also to note, as I get towards the end of the wing, I like to use a lot lighter of a pressure because that allows me to really flick the eyeliner and make sure that the edge is really sharp. And there is the wing that I have created so far. Next, I'm going to do the rest of my face, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so now I have my foundation on, and it is time for concealer. So for this, I use the Tarte Shape Tape. Obviously, I use the shade Fair Neutral. So what I like to do is just put a little dot on the back of my hand. You really don't need much at all because it's so pigmented. So just a little boop on the back of my hand. And then I take the doe foot applicator and I just put my concealer on like a normal person. And I don't get close to my wing. Avoid the wing. So then I just take my beauty sponge. This one's by Morphe. You can use a beauty blender, a Real Technique sponge, whatever you want. And I just pounce my concealer into my skin. Again, staying away from the wing. Then what I do is take a tiny detailer brush. For this I use the Sigma E20 short shader brush. And I just dip into my Shape Tape a little bit, and what I do is carve out my wing just like I would carve out my brows. So I just kind of draw a straight line to clean everything up and make it nice and sharp. And then I kind of bring the concealer down so that I don't have to get my beauty sponge too close to my wing, because I've messed it up before with the beauty sponge when I was blending things. And then I just blend the rest in, being very careful around the wing. And that is it. That's how I get my super sharp wing that I use in my Instagram photos. And that is it for this liner demo. This has been such a requested video for a really long time, so I'm happy that I'm finally getting around to doing it. I really love doing wing liner. I do it pretty much with every look. It's just so fierce. So I hope you found this helpful. Please leave any requests in the comments below, or just leave a general comment. I really love talking to you guys. I love when I get comments. I get so excited. So if you do have any particular videos you would like to see, please let me know. I would love to hear it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Bye.